Good afternoon, everybody. I always wish you are healthy and happy this day. So we are entering middle way. Particularly, so we have been studying how all the things around us merely inputted phenomena by our thoughts. Therefore, at the beginning, everybody do the proper motivation for be a Buddha, free from a samsara, particularly the root of the samsara, which is ignorance. In order to free from the root of the samsara, we need to realize the reality, which is emptiness, particularly emptiness of me and mine, which to realize emptiness of self, me, and mine. Also, our life, particularly being a Singaporean, you have a very, very busy life. Still, despite how you are busy, still you are studying practice Dharma, which is very benefit for this life, next life, after next life. Therefore, every day when you study Dharma, when you do Dharma practice, make sure you yourself rejoice yourself. Many of us have been studying Dharma for many years. Some of you have been studying Dharma with me more than 8 years. All the the knowledge you have about Dharma, make sure you apply in our daily life. For example, when you are not happy, then you need to think why today I am not so happy, why I wasn't happy yesterday, why I am so much worried for tomorrow, for next life. So when you think why you are not happy, then you will notice, you will realize the particular, I'm saying the particular cause you to be very unhappy. When you realize the particular cause to be you are unhappy, then immediately, I said immediately, you need to practice Dharma. It doesn't mean immediately you do chanting recitation. If you do some chanting recitation for the short time, you feel relief, you feel happiness, you feel peace. But after you stop the recitation chanting, then the unhappiness, the worry will come back again and continuously bother you and your friends and family. That immediately immediately practice dharma means remember the particular antidotes, how to reduce, how to control the particular the cause to arise unhappiness. Among the causes, mostly when we are not happy, when we have a lot of destructive thoughts, a lot of disturbance in our mind, mainly disturbed by, caused by anger, attachment, ego, hatred. Therefore, in our daily life, we need to focus first how to control anger. Anger always brings, a lot of problems. Also, anger, hatred are one of the cause to have a very unhealthy life, to cause to have a unhealthy friendship, unhealthy relationship. Therefore, we always need to control the anger. So in order to control the anger, we need to know, we must have a correct or right knowledge how to control anger, which is compassion, love, tolerance. Those are the right antidotes to control your anger. Also in our life, particularly being a lay person, you are living with a family, you are working with different field. Every day you are meeting different person, like different people, different group of people. Then there's some kind of attachment here and there. Due to the attachment cause to generate, like ego. The attachment cause to generate anger, hatred, jealousy, all the things. Therefore, second, every day you need to apply the particular antidotes to control your attachment, which is detachment, or which is essence-less. Then overall, all the negative thoughts are caused by ignorance, very particular mind, which we name the ignorance. Therefore, today we are going to learn what does mean ignorance. Ignorance doesn't mean, the meaning of ignorance is just knowing nothing. No. Ignorance is a very particular mind, which is, perceive things as have a particular essence to be particular phenomenon. Like, for example, let's say human being, human or person. Now we study based on our own, life. So when we think, me, for example, me and my name is Gopsang Yunten, I'm a human being. How actually the human being exist? How I, me, self exist? For the ignorance, the I, me, mine is very independent entity, independent phenomenon. Therefore, the ignorant, grabs a person, the being as a independent or inherent existent. This is ignorance. The opposite ignorance is the wisdom which relies empty of independent existent person. Mean wisdom for the wisdom the person is just exists there as a illusion. For the ignorance, the person exists as a independent, as a very particular, like a substance. Therefore, ignorance and wisdom, both them are mind, but it has a totally, opposite perception. Therefore, I always reminds you, make sure you practice the Dharma, not just, enough to have knowledge. It's a very simple example. I have a, very particular sickness. Also be aware there's a very particular medicine for the particular sickness. We have the knowledge. We understood there's a particular sickness. There's a particular medicine. Exactly the same, we aware there's an anger. Anger has a very particular antidote, which is compassion, kindness, tolerance. Also, we are aware there's a very particular medicine for the particular sickness. Also, we bought it. We bought the particular medicine. We always bring with us the medicine, but we don't eat it. We don't take the particular medicine for the particular sickness. We are aware I have a sickness, particular sickness. Also, we are aware there's a particular medicine. Also, we bought it. Also, we carry with us all the time. But we, never eat. We never take the medicine, just carrying with us. That means we are being like that. We notice we have anger. Anger is no good. Anger disturbs me. Also, the anger disturbs other. Also, we are aware the compassions, the pure compassion, great compassions are the very right medicine to control anger. Also, we learn from teachers, we learn from books, we learn from like YouTube. We have the knowledge, but we never apply the antidotes to control the anger. Therefore, make sure you apply the Dharma, use the knowledge of Dharma every day. And therefore, today, so more precisely, we need to do some analytical meditation. We need to analyze about how I exist. Every sentient being who has a, like feeling, thoughts, everybody has a concept of me, concept of I, concept of my body, concept of my belonging. Even the small insect, they have concept of me and mine. Now we need to know how actually that I exist. Therefore, from the Precious Garland, we already studied a little bit last time, page number 183. The Precious Garland too says this clearly in the following. Since a person is composed of 6 elements, person of being, It looks like totally composed with the 6 elements. It's talking about a particular the form, the body of the person. It has no absolute existence. And likewise, since each of the elements is in turn composite, they too have no absolute existence. Okay, first we analyze about the 6 elements. When we say I am fat, I am slim, I am skinny, I am sick. When we say, I am sick, I am fat, I am slim, I am skinny. So we are talking about part of the person, which is the body, the form. When we reflect about our own, like the body, the physical body exactly, composed, like compound the 6 elements. The water, first the earth, the water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Think about our body. We have bones, flesh, skin. Those are part of earth. Then we have a blood. Also, we have a lot of water, all parts of our body. These are the water. Then we can, when you touch your body, we can feel there's a kind of warmness. You can feel there's some kind of heat. All parts of your body is also named as a fire or fire elements, water elements, air elements. Then also we can reflect, inner of our body. First, there's a lot of empty, big empty space, which is, possess all the into lungs, heart, kidney, liver, abdomen. There's a big empty space. Then you can see all the organs. Also within the organ, you can see a lot of hollow, lot of space. The air can go through the, like a channel or chakra. The blood can go through all the nerves. There's a space. Then when we say I'm happy, I'm not happy. So we are talking about, our own feeling. Then there's a consciousness. Therefore, when we think about me as a, just composition of 6 elements. And each of the 6 elements, when we break down more, pieces, water, it has some hundreds of billions of particles, air, whatever. That means the 6 element is also not, it doesn't have an absolute existence. Then consciousness or minds. There's just not, we have only one mind. We have so many different kinds of mind, like anger, attachment, hatred, ego, jealousy, disappointment, happy, unhappy feeling. There's so many kinds of consciousness. Within the one consciousness, let's say feeling, I feel good. When we say, oh, today I feel very good, I have a good feeling. Within the feeling, has many parts, the previous parts, future parts, previous moment, present moment, future moment. Therefore, the conscience also it doesn't have an absolute existence. Then since each of the elements is termed a composite, they too have no absolute existence. First, the person doesn't have absolute existence because the person is, composite with the six element. Each of the six elements is doesn't have absolute existence because it has so many other parts. Then the point of the first line is to state the reason because the person is designated in dependence on the collection of the six elements. Here, make sure we are not saying, the text, the root text, they don't say the six elements are the person. Person is a person or being or me or mine are the merely designated based on the six elements. Merely designated based on six elements. Reflect on the snake based on the coil rope. That means the shape of coil, the rope, the rope shape is look like coil, is a multiple color. Suddenly we have a concept. There's a snake. That means the six elements look like the coil rope. Based on the coil rope, the person has the concept. There's a snake. The snake is there merely designated based on the rope. Likewise, the person is only merely designated based on the six elements. The point of the first line is to state that the reason because the person is designated in dependence on the collection of six elements, which is since the person is a composite of six elements. The point of the third and the fourth line is to stated that since it is impossible for something not to consist parts and the barrier of the parts. Therefore, the third and the fourth line is saying it is impossible something. It doesn't have a parts. It doesn't have a barrier is parts. Something not to consist of parts and a barrier of the parts. Each element is, in turn, designated independence on the collection of many constructive parts. Therefore, they do not exist on the level of absolute reality or by virtues of their own essence. So some of you are very new, hearing about this thing. Very simple, you must think, everything around me, include my body, me, mine, everything merely inputted or designated phenomena based on so many things come together. Like a person. The person is merely designated based on the six elements. First, you remember this one. Second, you must remember it is impossible to have one phenomena. It doesn't have parts. It doesn't have, the barrier of the parts. All phenomena, permanent, impermanent, consciousness, the material thing, must have so many parts. For example, the marker pen. We have the concept, this is a marker pen. A marker pen has so many parts, like a lid, then the top, then there's a below. When you tear, you can see so many things. Even though this, the lid or the cap has a billions of, particle there. That means the cap exists merely designated with many parts. And the pen also merely designated phenomena based on so many parts. It is impossible something exists without parts and barrier of the parts. That means simple, you can think all phenomena has so many different kinds of parts, like a marker pen. Therefore, they do not exist on the level of absolute reality. Absolute reality. What does mean absolute reality? Then the next, words become more clear. By virtues of their own essence, that it doesn't have absolute, like entity. It doesn't have a, particular essence to say, to establish as a marker pen. It doesn't have essence. Furthermore, if they are, the person, all phenomena are designated in dependence on the collection of their constructive parts, neither the parts nor the barrier of the parts can be the thing itself. Please read one more. If they are designated independent on their collection of their constitutive parts, neither the parts nor the barrier of the parts can be the thing itself. For example, the cap of this pen is part of the pen. And therefore, this part, the cap, cannot be the pen because it is part of the pen. Therefore, seeing here, if they are designated in dependence on the collection of their constitutive parts, neither the parts nor the barrier of the, that means nor the barrier mean all the collection, all the collective things cannot be the pen. Means simply the lid cannot be a pen. The tip cannot be a pen. The bottom cannot be a pen. Inside, there's an ink. The ink also cannot be part. So all the parts cannot be the pen because it's a part. Then the all come together, all put together, the collective, the collection of their constituent parts. Neither the parts nor the barrier of the parts can be the thing itself. That means all the parts of the pen are not the pen. The collection of all the parts are not a pen. The pen is, the merely designated phenomena based on all the parts and barrier of the parts. Then, again, simply, you just say, verbally, when you are alone, you can say, all phenomena has parts. It is impossible some phenomena can exist without parts without barrier of the parts. Therefore, me, you can, when you are alone, you can say me, me, and then I cannot be independent, existent. It is impossible I exist without the parts, without the barrier of parts. That means me, merely only designated phenomena based on my parts, barrier of the parts. Simply think this way. Then the last one is saying here, yet something of different entity from this cannot be the thing itself. Please read once more. If they are designated in dependence on the collection of the constitutive parts, neither the parts nor the barrier of the parts can be the thing itself. Yet something of different entity from this cannot be the things. Therefore, all the parts are not the pen. The collection of the parts are not pen. Differently, or something of the different entity from this cannot. But there's no separate like a pen from the parts. Mean all the parts are not pen. From the pen cannot be totally separate from all the parts. Likewise, the collection of all the parts are not the pen. The pen cannot be totally separate, totally different from the collections. Likewise, me, I am in all my parts, water, fire, air, consciousness, feeling, all my parts are not me. Without all the parts, I cannot exist. I'm not the parts, I'm merely designated based on all the parts. Right? Now the most difficult we have here. So before I explain, I will read the last line. Is indeed the most difficult point of the final view of the middle way. Read one more. However, in the world posited through the conception is indeed the most difficult point of the final view of the middle way. It is the most difficult, parts in the middle way, which is everything merely designated phenomena. Still, we have to establish, we have to accept this is pen, right? And the cup, the pen, both are merely designated based on many parts. Then the cup, the pen, both are merely designated phenomena. Then can we say the cup is pen, the pen is cup? Can we say? Cannot. Both of them merely designated, but this is cup, not a pen. This is pen, not a cup. So we have to establish, this is cup, not a pen. This is pen, not a cup. And how we can establish? Because both of them merely designated based on the many parts. That means we have to realize everything established based on paths established by the conceptual thoughts, but it has all phenomena has a unique function. Unique function. This is very difficult to understand. Now, how is difficult? Now we go here. Before we read, first we analyze, about our own I. First, I ask a question. When you think I, me, myself, when you reflect on I, when you think about I is like a form. The I is consciousness or not? Yes, we can say no. I am, I, me are not the form, not the physical body, neither the consciousness. Right? Yes. The second, I ask a question, then how you really exist? Because we can feel happiness, we can feel suffering, we can feel hungry, we feel thirsty, then how really you are exist? Then the answer is here, I am existent, I exist based on the 6 elements. I am merely designated phenomena based on the 6 elements. All the 6 elements are not me. I also not any of the elements. Without them, I cannot be exist. Neither I am not the 6 element, nor the 6 element are me. I am merely designated based on the 6 elements. Please think that way for a short time. Next, we just think the me, the concept of me, the idea of me, the me is exactly same, the concept of I, me, exactly same as designated snake, inputted a snake based on the coil rope, the multicolor and multicolor coil rope. The multicolor coil rope look like the 6 elements. For example, 6 elements. Based on the multiple color rope, then we designated there's a snake. That means the snake is merely designated based on the coil rope. A coil rope is said and not the snake. The snake we have in our mind is not the coil rope. Without the rope, the coil rope, there's no such as, we can say, we don't have a concept of snake. That means the snake is merely inputted phenomena based on the coil rope. Me, I, mind are merely inputted phenomena based on the 6 elements. Now you need to compare these two things, the snake and eye, or snake and the cup. That's an easy way. We say, in a one hand, you have a cup. On the other hand, you have a snake based on the coil rod. Both of them equally, exactly same phenomenon, exactly same as a designated phenomena. Both are exactly same way designated. Now here, the last paragraph, 183. Now, insofar as the way, vast, and so on are conceptually posited, they are, in the respect, at least exactly similar to a snake inputted on the basis. Now we say vast, we can say cup. The cup and so on are conceptually posited, similar to the snake inputted on the basis of rope. However, between the cup, I'm using cup, is a vase, between the cup and so on the other hand, and the rope snake on the other, the two cases are entirely different. Entirely different when it comes to whether they exist. The two cases are entirely different when it comes to whether they exist. That means in one hand you have a cup, on the other hand you have a snake based on the coil rope. Both of them same as an inputted phenomena. When it comes to whether they exist or not, then it's become totally different. The cup in your hand, on the right hand, is existent phenomena. The snake, on other hand, the based on the coil rope, is not existent, became the non-existent. Both of them equally inputted phenomena. One became existent phenomena, other became non-existent phenomena. But same way, they are inputted. One exists, which is the cup is exist. The snake is not a existent phenomena. Number one. The number two next here, whether they are capable of effective function and so on. A cup in one hand is capable of effective function. That means we can say this is a cup. Also, the thing in your hand has a capable to effective function to hold water, to hold tea, coffee. On the other hand, the snake in your hand, it is incapable to have an effective function. But you have the concept, you still believe there's a snake. In the reality, in your hand, there's no snake. It doesn't have an effective function. It doesn't have a capable to have an effective function, right? Then next here saying point number three. This is because here is a clear distinction between the cup in one hand, on the other hand the snake. Clear distinction between the two in whether their convention remain essential for everyday transaction, and whether the usage of such as convention, uh, such capable to invalidation. Then these two are same as a designated, merely designated phenomena. The cup has an effective function. The snake doesn't have an effective function. Also, in your hand, you say this is a cup. Worldly people, wherever you go, you carry the cup in your hand. You go around Singapore, everybody will agree with you. There's a cup. On the other hand, you have a coil rope. You say, I have a snake. We walk around all parts of Singapore. Nobody agree with you. You have a snake. You have a snake. Point number 2. Point number 3. The cup in your hand is the cup in your hand is of the valid phenomena. On the other hand, you have a snake. It is an invalid phenomena. Now, how we can say one is in the valid phenomena, other is an invalid phenomena. We are talking about the worldly, based on the worldly concept. Therefore, the cup is existent phenomena. The cup has an effective function. The cup is a valid phenomena. You can say this cup. Everybody will agree. There's a cup. On the other hand, the snake in your hand is inputted phenomena, but it doesn't have the effective function as a snake. Also, in your hand, the snake is a not valid phenomena. It is an invalid phenomena. Also, the worldly people, when you go around, none of the human agree with you. You have a snake. This is the clear distinction. The cup, on the other hand, the snake. The everyday transaction remain tangible in the world, posited through the conceptualization, represent among the commentator of the words the meaning of the Madhyamaka treatise, a unique tradition of interpreting the novel Nagarjuna and his son of the three, which is Buddhapalita, Shantideva, Chandrakirti. That means according to Shantideva, Buddhapalita, Chandrakirti, all phenomena are merely designated phenomena, merely inputted phenomena, but it has their unique function. Shantideva and his master Chandrakirti, this issue, now you can see there's a Bharga, there's a extra words, which is added by Thubten Chimba. This issue of how everyday translation remain possible in world posited through the conception. Indeed, the most difficult, the most difficult point of the final view of the middle way. We have to be able to establish the functional phenomena based on merely designated, based on the inputted by the conceptualization. That means the cup has, on the other hand, you have a cup, on the other hand, you have a snake. This is real, this is not real. Real sense, real doesn't mean it's a ultimate reality. Real means This cup is a real cup for all human beings. This is no real snake for all human beings. This is the different. Understood this, then the precious garland started. Nothing whatsoever, not even the mere name exists on the ultimate level, and so on conventional level too. Nothing exists on other than what are the posited and mere designation through the convention such as name. So nothing exists other than what are posited as mere designation through convention such as name. I mean, everything merely designation. Then there's a quotation from the Precious Garland. Because material things are mere names, when the 6 elements are mere name. The space too is a mere name. How can there be matter with no elements? Therefore, mere name too do not exist. Now the 5 basis of the designation of the person, feeling, discrimination, mental formations, and consciousness. Contemplate this just like the elements or self. Therefore, the 6 elements have no selfhood. Apart from being designated by convention, how could there be world in reality? Is either existent or non-existent. So the conclusion here, we can make a conclusion because many of you cannot remember all the words. First, step number 1. First you think, me, I am, I, me, self exists. You cannot say I'm not existent, exist. How I exist? I exist based on the 6 elements. 6 elements. The 6 elements are the basis to establish me, I, sentient being or human being. Therefore, me, I, when you think I am not happy, the I merely designated based on the 6 elements. 6 element itself also merely designated based on many parts and the barrier of the parts. Like then the example is like a designated snake, inputted snake based on the coil rope. Both me and the snake are merely designated phenomena, same way, but me existent, the snake is not existent. Me has a effective function. The snake
作用
effective
绳上之蛇却没有
Okay, therefore, when you many times when you attend teaching from different master, many times the master say, please meditate on emptiness of the phenomena. Mean emptiness of the 6 elements, emptiness of the 5 aggregates. That time, immediately you need to reflect on the 6 elements, like for example, water in your body. There's a water, there's a blood. when you reflect on the bloods, you can see, like a kind of, it's running the blood all parts of your body. When you reflect very particular parts, then it has many parts. There's a billions of cells. You divide into many pieces. You divide many pieces. Finally, you cannot find me or I from the bloods. Then the water, earth, whatever, all the 6 elements are there, but they are not there as a independent. They are not there as a essentially way, inherent way. That means just you meditate on all the things around me, particularly my 5 aggregates. The 6 elements are merely designated. That means emptiness, meditate on emptiness of the phenomena. Then second, meditate on emptiness of I. Mean immediately, you need to reflect on I, me, mine. The I merely designated based on the 6 elements. The I, the nature is empty of independent entity, empty of inherent existence. That means empty, what empty? Empty of independent, empty of absolute entity. Nothing can be exist absolutely. Then second, you reflect on emptiness of I. Then the next, then you become more clear how ignorant grabs I, how the wisdom grabs I. Both of them, focus on I. But for the ignorant, I mean independent I, without dependent on 6 elements, without dependent on the 5 aggregates. For the wisdom which relies, which is understood the emptiness of I, for the wisdom, I mean merely designated based on the 6 elements, 5 aggregates. Therefore, in the Heart Sutra, remember at the beginning, establish emptiness of the form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is not other than the emptiness. Emptiness too, not other than the form. Then likewise, then form, then feeling. Feeling is emptiness. Emptiness is feeling. Feeling is not other than the emptiness. Emptiness too, not other than the feeling. Therefore, you have to carry same idea with the 5 aggregates. Then fall over to dwelling into dependence. Okay, then next if one understands this well, how things merely designated, one will soundly comprehend, point number 1, how phenomena are necessarily posited through dependence. Point number 1, how phenomena are necessarily posited through dependence. Dependent meaning parts, dependent, parts of the barrier. Point number 2, how by the very virtues of their being dependently designated and have arisen through dependence. The number dependence, they have no existence in their own right. Point number 2. Then point number 3, how they do not possess an independent nature, something not possessed through the power of some other conventions. The point number 4, no matter the phenomena, when it is posited as existent, it is done so without analysis, without seeking a truth referent behind the designation. So as a homework, please everybody read the last paragraph. Remember the 4 points. What are the 4 points? Point number 1, how phenomena are necessarily posited through dependence. Mean all phenomena posited through dependence. Any phenomena, they are. Positive mean there, exist. Everything is there. Merely dependence, merely through the dependence. Positive through dependence. What is the point number 2? Please read. The point number 2. How by the very virtues of their being, they are being dependently designated and have arisen through dependence, they have no existence in their own right. They have no existence in their own rights. That means none of the phenomena have, their own kind of rights. Mean very simple again. Here's the marker pen, like the pen, right? Everybody, wherever you go in all over the world, everybody will agree this is kind of pen. Pen. Doesn't mean the pen is necessarily posited through dependence, dependent for many parts, many conditions. Point number 2, by the very virtues of their being dependent designated, dependently designated, and having arisen through the dependence. Arising means is there, exists, established through dependence. Point number 2. The point number 3, sorry, true continuously, they have no existence in their own right. That means a pen does not exist in their own rights. Mean if the pen exists by their own rights, then when you analyze by your thoughts, or when you do the experiment, open the lid, not pen, cut the like body, open, you cannot find there's a say we can say this is the pen. We cannot. Therefore, point number 2. The point number 3, how they do not possess an independent nature, something not posited through the power of some other conventions. That means they do not possess this pen does not possess an independent nature, something not posited through the power of some other conventions. That point number 4, no matter the phenomena, when it is posited as existent, it does not, without analysis, without seeking a truth referent behind the designation. This is very important, the last point number 4. No matter the phenomena, when it is posited as existent, established as existent, it done so without analysis. It's done so without analysis, without seeking a truth referent behind the designation. That means we say this is pen, this is cup. This concept, the establishment established by the worldly being. But if they don't have a particular kind of reference, say Therefore, this pen. Therefore, this cup. It doesn't have a referent, seeking a truth referent behind the designation. For example, I show you two books. Right? Two books. This is Tibetan letter. Tibetan letter. This is English letter. Tibetan English. You can see two different, language. English and Tibetan. English and Tibetan. Then, why this is English? Why this is Tibetan? It doesn't have a true reference. Say, oh, therefore this is English. Therefore, this is Tibetan. Like me, when I was born, I was just little baby. When you are born, you are very little baby. Whether you are 1 year old tall, you are Shin, no, just a baby. Based on the baby, then somebody designated or somebody named Yunten. Or you somebody named as a Wong, Liam, Ting, whatever you have a name. Then somebody is designated based on the baby, designated as a Wong, Tang or Ning. I don't have a truth reference to say I'm Yunten, you are Wong. That means world things established worldly, it doesn't have a true reference, merely in order to function things smoothly. If you analyze, the conventional phenomena, then you cannot really have the concept, this is cup, this is pen, don't have. When you analyze, every physical phenomena can break down into many, like particles. All physical phenomena finally become like particles. Therefore, all the phenomena we have to establish. We thought no matter the phenomena, when it is posited to existent, posited as unexistent, it is done so without analysis, without seeking a truth referent behind the designation. It's quite clear for us. For example, when we do the election, we select the president, we select the prime minister, we select the chairperson, whatever. When we select, there's a way how do we select. When you analyze the person, what's the difference between president and being a president or before president? The person physical body is same, the money is same, education is same, the lifestyle is same, but only designation. Right? I told you the funny things in India. So we, I think now maybe around 7 years ago, like I think 5 or 6 years ago, Indian government, totally banned the old note. One night, Prime Minister said, since today, this note is not, legal standard something. He said, make announcement. Since today, all this, like money, not going to be accepted as a money. Next morning, all the cash, all the money become piece of paper. Until announcement, all the like cash function as actual money. Next morning, all the paper, like cash become piece of paper. Then the many monks say, oh, now I realize the merely designation. Many monks say, oh, I realize what does mean merely designation. Somebody said, since this is money, things become money. Somebody said, since today is no more money, is no more money mean, since they become a piece of paper. That means merely designation. Okay, so before we move to the next topic, does anybody have a question? Any question? Is anything I should do more clear?
So brothers and sisters, Geshe-la is inviting us to further clarify any doubts. If you have questions, you may raise your hand or type in the chat. Geshe-la, seems like there's no question.
Okay. Now here main point at the beginning, page number 181, you no need to turn on the page. Identifying the grasping at true existence according to the Prasangika Madhyamaka standpoint. It has 2 points, 2 parts. Before it is said, if one understands how according to this system, phenomena are posited through the mere conceptualization, one can then easily recognize how its opposite would constitute grasping at true existence. Therefore, first we need to realize everything merely designated through the conceptualization, then the opposite would constitute as a grasping at true existence. It has 2 parts. The presentation has 2 parts, how phenomena are posited through the conceptualization and presenting the grasping at true existence, the contrary apprehension. So we finished the part number 1, which is how phenomena are posited through the conceptualization. Also, I ask you to memorize, few stanza, which is very useful, very important. I always recite the first stanza from the question of Upali. Because when you chant this stanza, the stanza is so beautiful. You can reflect, all the beautiful palace, all the beautiful flowers. Then there's no crater. Then suddenly you will realize everything is merely designation. It doesn't have their own right. It doesn't have a very particular essence to say palace, to say flower, to say human. This the first important. Everybody try to understand everything, every phenomena merely designation by power of conceptualization. Not just say, power of mind, particularly power of conceptualization, power of the conception thoughts, conceptualization. Then last time I explained a bit clearly why we need to add conceptualization, conceptual thoughts. I mean, we have 2 kinds of minds. One kinds of mind just, aware or perceive things. It doesn't have the capable ability to judge, exaggerate. Then there's another, kinds of mind which has the capable to make a judgment, have a capable to exaggerate. Then you remember I used another example, you and a small baby. You and small baby, both of you are, watching a very particular phenomena. For you, you have so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many kind of, exaggeration. The baby just watching, he or she doesn't have a lot of concept. That means one mind has a concept, say good, bad, small, big. One mind doesn't have. For example, the 5 senses. Next, page number 185. Grasping. Grasping means, like a holding. Mean the mind holds something. grasping at true existence. Grasping where? Grasping at true existence. Actually, there's no true existence. Therefore, the thoughts something grabs as a true existence means the thought is ignorance. The contrary apprehension, grasping a thing as existent as described above, not posited by the power of convention, such as the name alone, constitute innate grasping at things at true existence, number one. Number two, ultimate. Number three, absolute. Therefore, true existence, ultimately existent, absolutely existence are exactly the meaning are same. Grasping at thing as true existence. Innate grasping at the things as ultimate existence. Grasping at thing absolute existence. You can say different words: true, ultimate, absolute true existence. 4. Existence by virtues of essential nature. 5. Existence through the intrinsic characteristic. 6. Intrinsic existence and the object grasped at by such a mind is hypothetically speaking the measure of the true existence. Just remember, true, ultimate, absolute existence. Existence by virtues of an essential nature. Existence through the intrinsic characteristic. Intrinsic existence, those are same meaning. The meaning is same. When you think the meaning from the based on the words, you can have a different idea. The meaning is same. Therefore, as a homework, I give you first, remember the 4 points. Then remember the synonymous of the ultimate, true. There's 6 different words. Okay, so today is now 4:20. We can stop our class here because